TitleMatchNetwork.com.
For anyone to sit there and say, and obviously I have issues with Vince.
Right.
For anyone to say he's a fucking genius after XFL, World Bodybuilding Federation, ICO Pro, the dropping of the ball, the destroying of wrestling in general, it's dumbfounding. He's made fucking fuck up after fuck up after fuck up. He's somewhat successful despite himself.
Right.
Plans up.
Do you feel he did a WCW thing just because he didn't want to put over the company? He just wanted...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was consciously done, but his ego gets in the way, and he said, "Fuck him."
Right. What are your thoughts on the lawsuit that's going on today?
The lawsuit
lawsuit with Raven and.
I was told not to talk about it. We're filming this before the end of whatever happens with the lawsuit. I think the facts stand for themselves, man. I think if you go online, just look up what it means to be an independent contractor versus employee, it's night and day. They feel that because we signed a contract that says we're independent contractors, that's going to hurt us. Vince could have had me sign a contract that said I was a fucking 2,000-pound elephant, and I would have signed it because, first of all, he's a monopoly. Number two, I wanted to work there at any cost. Doesn't mean I'm a 2,000-pound fucking elephant. You know what I'm saying? He could have had me sign anything. And he's in a position to make you do it. Just because you sign something that says you're something doesn't make you something. You know, and I think that's a lame aspect of this. But if that's the law, it's the law. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. There's a lot of reasons why I did it. Number one, Raven needed people to do it, and he had somewhat trouble finding people because people were afraid of Vince on many levels. Vince is controversial, man, and when it comes to the law, he's impressive.
Huh.
He does well, but I mean, there's also other things people feel. And you go back, I read a book recently, man, I forget, Wrestling Babylon, I think it's called, and they talk about the Snooker incident back in '84, where they believe Snooker might have killed the girl. I wasn't there, I can't know, but they talk about how Vince covered that up, man. That's a powerful man if he was able to do that. So people are afraid of Vince. So number one, Raven had trouble getting people to do it. And, the class action lawsuit, usually the lawyers want a few people filing, not just one. So I did it for that. I really did feel it would help the business if we won. It'd help a lot of the guys, definitely. I think what Vince is doing is wrong and illegal. And I think, I really did feel, publicity law. I figured it would be publicity as well. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to really talk about it. So that'll win. I mean, as soon as it's definitely over, I'll shoot 100% on it. We'll see where it goes.
Did you have any memories of Vince early on when you first met Vince back in the day? Or did you not really have much contact with him?
I always thought he was a dick.
Right.
Just kidding. I'll tell you what, man. I look back at those days, '95, as some of my best memories in wrestling because finally to go from just indies, South Carolina indies in front of 100 people, and for Moolah sometimes literally 10 or 20 people, to working on TV, man. I did TV before. I did Smoky Mountain.
Right.
And Jim treated me well in Smoky Mountain. He even gave me a tryout that I fucked up. So I'd done some TV, but and I remember calling my friends and saying, "Hey, it's on satellite dish." You had to have one of those ridiculous monster dishes back then. And some of my friends got to watch it up in New York, which I thought was cool. But when you actually do the WWE TV tapings and you're on Raw, and I was live against Tatanka, and fucking boy, that motherfucker gave me a lot of offense. And Cornette was going nuts, putting me over. He was doing commentary.
Right.
So, man, look at this Kanyon go, because he knew me from Smokey.
Right.
To do that, man, and now you're here finally with the people you looked up to. And I'd worked some shows. I worked a show with Pez Watley and some guys that I'd seen on TV down in South Carolina. I got to work with, Jimmy Garvin. I worked some shows with some names, but now I'm on a fucking the show with nothing but names.
Right.
It's just a great, and the future just seems so limitless, man. And you're in the bar with these guys afterwards, and you're not on that level, but you're no longer just a fan or a guy on the indies, man.
Right.
You're one of the guys that's there and getting looked at. And and I'm getting good feedback from almost everybody. And and I mentioned before that the Hardys were there with us, and me and Kim and that's when the click started. Man. Razor and Sean and Kevin and the kid, man, they would sit in front of that monitor in front of everybody, dude, and just bury fucking people left and right. But they would also put people over, man. And I remember straight up Scott Hall one day with me and Kidman sitting right there, and they were watching Jeff Hardy. He goes, I don't know, motherfuckers. They need to sign this motherfucker now.
Huh.
And I remember being so fucking. I liked Matt and Jeff even from back then. We knew each. We started. Because we saw each other at a lot of tapings, and I liked those guys and I respected them. But man, I was so fucking jealous when Scott said that. Man, it pissed me off. I was like, fuck.
All right.
And it was funny because Kidman never did get to work. He may have done one. Me and him got to do a dog match in Allentown. But so Kidman would always give me the feedback of what they would say about me when I'm in the ring. Right. I was always the stooge sitting there waiting, listening. And they would always get to me too, but they never said nothing like that. They never said sign Kanyon now. So whatever.
Memories of the angles with Steph and Vince?
Not so much the angles. Stephanie seemed very pleasant, man. Again, wrestling's weird. You always have to wonder how real someone's being. It's weird, and that's why wrestling's weird, man. The line when you start blurring the line between fantasy and reality, what's real, what's not, what you can believe, what you can't believe. I mean, people like Pillman did it. Andy Kaufman did it. When you start blurring that line, man, things get weird, man. I was with Pillman during some weird times with him, and he would blur that line, and somehow him blurring that line made things even crazier, man. I saw weird things happen around that guy. When I was in the nut house, I saw it happen too. I think it's scary. I think that's why wrestling's such a fucked up business, man, because the whole thing is based on blurring that line. Whether we try to do it or not, it ends up happening. It ends up happening in the back too for all of us. We don't know what's real, what's not. So with Stephanie, she was always very pleasant, and I never saw any reason to think she wasn't that way all the time. But I don't know, man. Yeah, gotcha. She's the spawn of the devil, so you gotta wonder.
Did you ever get to talk to Jesse about the Jesse Ventura story?
Yeah, at fucking WrestleMania 20. That was kind of WrestleMania 20 was a pretty cathartic thing for me. I had just been fired in February of 2006. WrestleMania had come full circle, 20 years, back in the Garden, where pretty much, in my mind, my career kind of started with Hulk winning the belt. Maybe before. That's when I started saying I'm going to do this. So from 84 to 2006, for 20 years, in those 20 years, I succeeded in my dream of becoming a wrestler. Won belts, U.S. title and tag belts in both groups, WCW and WWF, and had my career with WWE and being fired. It felt very final for me. It felt like I'd come full circle. It felt like that. It felt right for me to end it there. And as much as I think Vince mistreated me in WWE, and God knows what factors led to the firing, I did backstage, and I have a picture too. But after it was all over, after WrestleMania 20 was done, I went to the room where Vince and Stephanie and Linda was there. I'm trying to remember. Shane was there too. All four of them, and I said, I don't know if you guys know, but I got fired. So there's a good chance he did. I said, but and I just want to thank you guys, and that was heartfelt. And some might think it's hypocritical of a lot of things I've said since then, and a lot of things I've done since then. But I'll never take that back that I thanked him. He did. He let my dreams come true. He didn't have to hire me. He didn't have to give me the U.S. title. Didn't have to give me the WWE tag titles. More than anything, and those were big goals. Winning belts is big. It shows that the company, it's a work because every belt is given to you, whatever, but it shows the company's behind you to some extent when they put a strap on there. So it does mean something. And more than anything, working the Garden, I got to work in Madison Square Garden. I grew up going there. I was there when Hulk won it. So when I got to work, I worked Jeff Hardy in there. So it was really cool. Those were huge dreams. And it wouldn't have came true without them. So I don't mind that I thanked them. And there was even a sign in the crowd. Some guy had up a huge one that said, "Thanks, Vince." If you watch the paper, you can see it. As soon as the show was over and the confetti was falling and Eddie and Chris were in the ring, which is just a great moment. And I'm sitting there watching. These are guys I think should have the belt at WrestleMania. It just felt perfect. I ran out there and I took a picture with the guy. Thanks, Vince. So I have a picture that the confetti falling and me and this guy holding the Thanks, Vince sign. I do appreciate that I got that opportunity. Doesn't mean he's not a douchebag. Doesn't mean he's not a scumbag and two-faced and evil. I do believe he, in many ways, an evil guy. But he did do something nice for me, and I don't feel two-faced for thanking him for giving me the opportunity.
What about Jesse Ventura? Did you
watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com?